Hi, this is Pauline Merrick. I research Black Revolutionary War soldiers, mostly all in Connecticut, and mostly Windham County and New London County, kind of a specialized field. This presentation is a little bit different because I'm going to be talking about a soldier that does not exist. He is called Asaba Grosvenor in some records, and we're going to take a little look at his life. I came to this research when I was asked by the Pomfret, Connecticut Historical Society to talk about Black Revolutionary War soldiers from Pomfret. And one of the first things I do when I start these projects is find a list of what's known, use this as my base to start researching. And I like to not just make a list of names, but to research these men's lives, find out if I can who they are, what happened to them before and after the war, whether or not they left families, and whether they might have present day descendants. So for Pomfret, one of the names that I researched was Asaba Grosvenor, highlighted here in yellow, said to be an African-American from Pomfret. Grosvenor is an important name in Connecticut history for the Revolutionary War. Lieutenant Thomas Grosvenor was an officer in the Revolution. He was very friendly with the family of Governor John Trumbull and his son, John, who became a well-known painter, mostly because of these paintings he did of the Revolutionary War battle scenes. He was present at the Battle of Bunker Hill. He saw this action as it happened, and he then interpreted it onto canvas. And here we see his painting, The Death of General Warren at the Battle of Bunker's Hill, painted in 1786, and this version hangs at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. And I say version because there are several versions of this painting. Keep your eye on the flag that's just to right of the center of the painting here while I go to the next slide. As you can see, while this depicts the same scene, it is an entirely different painting. This one was also painted in 1786 and hangs in Yale University Art Gallery. And keep your eye on that flag again. Here we have, again titled The Death of General Warren at the Battle of Bunker Hill, June 17, 1775. This one was painted in 1834, and this one is owned by the Wadsworth Athenaeum in Hartford. Now, all three of these paintings have one thing in common. Well, they depict all the same figures in slightly different atmospheric settings. But if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you see that's Lieutenant Thomas Grosvenor with his sword drawn, and behind him is an African-American man holding a gun. And the question has been for many, many years, who was this African-American man? Can we identify him? Trumbull also did a couple of studies of just this part of the painting, the bottom right-hand corner, that he produced separately. This one is owned by Yale University. And you see it's just Thomas Grosvenor and the black man standing behind him with the gun. And this one is titled Lieutenant Thomas Grosvenor and His Negro Servant. And this is from the Yale University website. It says the servant was long thought to depict Peter Salem, which was obviously not true because Peter Salem was a Massachusetts man. Recent research suggests that he represents an enslaved man known as Asaba. So he would be known as Asaba Grosvenor, enslaved by Thomas Grosvenor. So when it says recent research, my ears always perk up because I would like to know what this research was. How did they come to this conclusion? What evidence did they use to reach this conclusion? And it didn't take me long to find out that that recent research was this publication put out by the National Park Service through the Boston National Historical Park This report was prepared by George Quintal Jr., and this was published, I believe, in 2014, perhaps a couple years earlier than that. So, okay, what did they base this conclusion on? Here's that publication, Patriots of Color. In their appendix, we find a listing for Asaba Grosvenor, served in the Israel Putnam's regiment, which is logical since Israel Putnam lived in Pomfret, a company that was captained by Jedediah Waterman. And then there's a page with more information about Asaba. It says he resided in Pomfret. He was a private, as were all Black men in the Revolution, and he was stationed at the rail fence. At the Battle of Bunker Hill, a slave of Lieutenant Thomas Grosvenor of Pomfret fought beside his owner against the British. We know that from the painting by John Trumbull, who was there, who knew Thomas Grosvenor, knew that that man was enslaved by Thomas Grosvenor. This action was incorporated into the painting John Trumbull made of that battle. In the 1790 census of Pomfret, Thomas Grosvenor lists in his household 1 free non-white person and 2 slaves. That is also verifiable. I can look at the 1790 census in Pomfret. I find Thomas Grosvenor's household, and there is 1 free non-white person and 2 slaves in that household. That is all the information we get about those non-white people. We don't know if they're male, female. We don't know even what their approximate ages are, just that they are in the household. He goes on to say that the vital records of Pomfret mention a man named Asaba, a Negro, who had a son, James Peter, who was a slave in the Grosvenor household in 1794, at which time he was freed on his 25th birthday. That sentence doesn't even make sense to me, but we'll come back to it in a minute. And then he concludes that Asaba is most probably the slave who stood by his master at Bunker Hill and who was the free man of color living in the Grosvenor household in 1790. That smacks of jumping to a conclusion to me, so I want to dig further. I don't live far from Pomfret, so I can find this out myself. But I don't even have to do that at first. I can go right online. First on the Ancestry website, where I can find the transcription of the Pomfret church records or vital records. Thomas Grosvenor had Negro James Peter, son of Asaba, born November 30th, 1794, entitled to freedom at 25 years of age by the existing laws of Connecticut, 1794. Okay, that doesn't tell me much more, except that this record exists in volume 2 on page 109. Now I can go to the family history website. The Mormon Church, as most of you might know, has all sorts of incredible, important records online, and you can go there for free and look at them. So I went to this record in volume 2, page 109, and this, where it starts with the blue here, is that original record. Starts with James. That second word is not Peter. It is Foster. James Foster, born of Asaba, servant to Thomas Grosvenor of Pomfret, November 30th, 1794. It does not say born November 30th, 1794, but this is a birth record. So he was born November 30th, 1794. He is entitled to his freedom at 25 years of age by the existing laws of Connecticut. That is true. Connecticut passed the Gradual Emancipation Act in 1784, stating that any children who were born into slavery after that date would only have to serve until they were 25 years old. So this is giving James Foster's birth date and the fact that 25 years from that date, he is to be set free. The wording here disturbs me a little bit. Born of Asaba, servant to Thomas Grosvenor. I can hopefully look in the Pomfret records and find James Foster's emancipation record. But while I'm there poking around, I am also going to look for a manumission record for Asaba. According to all these websites I've looked at that talk about Asaba Grosvenor, it says that he was later freed by Thomas Grosvenor. So I'm going to look for that record. And I did find it in the Pomfret Town Hall in their deed book number 9 on page 288. And this is dated 12 April 1802. And this is standard language for a manumission record of the era. This may certify that we, the describers, a justice of the peace and 2 of the selectmen in and for the town of Pomfret in Windham County, on the application of Thomas Grosvenor of said Pomfret, desiring to emancipate and make free his Negro slave Asaba. We have examined said Asaba, spelled a little bit differently, but that's okay. That's very common in this sort of research. We find that the said Asaba is under the age of 25 years, and that is an error in recording. Asaba had to be under 40 years in order to qualify for manumission. And more than 25 years old, is in good health and desires to be made free. Okay, this all looks great. Here is Asaba's manumission record. It's a little bit later than some of the other sites said, but we have it. But here's the kicker. This goes on for another whole paragraph that maybe somebody didn't bother to read. To all people to whom this writing shall come, know ye that I, Thomas Grosvenor Pomfret, in the state of Connecticut, do emancipate and make free the above named Asaba, my slave, and that she forever hereafter be a free woman, and hold and take the name of Asaba Nichols. The Black enslaved person in Lieutenant Thomas Grosvenor's household was a woman, not a man, a woman named Asaba. So we can conclude that the Black man standing behind Lieutenant Grosvenor is not Asaba Grosvenor. He is known as an enslaved man of Lieutenant Thomas Grosvenor. We know that from John Trumbull's title of his painting. We may never know his name. Thank you very much. If you have any feedback on this, I've put up my email address, and I am always happy to hear from you. Thanks for listening.